Good evening, chat. Hello. Hi, guys. Welcome. And yes, another night of a t-shirt. Having a relaxed night tonight. But welcome to the show, guys. We got an interesting one. This is, we're kind of, I think starting at the beginning of the year, because we're going to be getting into this January. Actually, around this time frame, really. 4 years I've been doing this. Count them 4. 4 years of gayness and cringe. Just awful garbage. Actually, I'm comfy, but I don't have my fucking slippers that I was touting last night. My toes are going to get cold. But 4 years of doing this, chat. And I think I need to go back through when we've covered lawsuits and stuff. I need to kind of go back and say, hey, look, where are we? How did this one resolve? What's happening? I think I need to do that, and I haven't done that, and I've talked about it before, and I think it's kind of important to do. So we will work on that here coming up. But this is a bookend to the Alex Murdaugh trial. You guys remember Alex Murdaugh is the attorney down in South Carolina who murdered his wife and his son, and this was all, they are also the ones where, like, the house cleaner got murdered on their property. The other son had driven a boat drunk into a bridge piling and killed some people. And he, as an attorney, one of the most prominent attorneys in South Carolina, had made a ton of money and a ton of settlements, had stolen millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. So remember, this is also the trial where we learned about the brain water. When the cops showed up and they said, I didn't see no brains, just brain water was everywhere. We've heard about so much stuff. Hashtag says, I know the trial, but I don't know about this part. Yeah. So remember, he was accused of murdering his son and his wife, pulling out a 300 blackout AR-15 and just fucking hosing him down. And he ended up being convicted. Being convicted of the financial crimes. He got convicted of everything. And now he's in prison forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Very much like in Hamilton, forever and ever and ever and ever. That's kind of where we are. Now, there were some issues about alleged juror misconduct that happened in the trial. Some of these jurors came out and alleged that Becky Hill, the clerk of courts in this case, and she was, the judge that was involved in it said, was telling her, like, Miss Becky's going to take care of y'all. She actually turned out to, in the truest sense of any Southern political office holder, to be a complete fucking scam artist. And corrupt as shit, as we learned about Miss Becky. This is, well, actually, we got to get a better picture here, chat. Hold on. This is Becky Hill. This is her right here. If you guys don't remember her, this is her. She manipulated things at trial. She interacted with the jury improperly. Remember, we had the issues of, like, the jury being separated into 2 different rooms, so they were deliberating because there wasn't a room big enough for them. Just stuff you're not allowed to do. Stuff that's like jury and trial management 101. Like, you can't do these things. She would talk to the jurors. She was their interaction, which it should be the bailiff or the judicial secretary. Somebody should be the person who's the interaction. Well, she kind of abused that with the jury. From here, Tobias says, can you give us an educated guess on what he thinks it's going to be? Hi, Tobias. I can't tell you because I already heard what happens to her. I mean, you're not going to feel like it does anything important. You'll be questioning justice at this point. But yeah, she was withholding smoke breaks, doing all kinds of stuff, manipulate the jury. And then from there, almost immediately, she comes out with a book. And if you guys remember, it's like Behind the Doors of Justice. And it was about her, you know, the whole thing was going to be, she was going to make a book. And it was going to be like her fucking thing. And this is what she was publishing and pimping, her book. And from here, we also learned that her book was plagiarized almost entirely. She had a ghostwriter and like, you know, somebody helping her research, but she plagiarized almost all of it. And ripped all kinds of people off. We then learned that she was doing things like basically renting out her office and renting out her abilities as the clerk of court to do yes, Mr. Medicare would have slit Becky's throat for denying smoke breaks. But it was a shittily written book. It was heavily plagiarized. The guy who helped her write it, Neil Gordon, bailed. It turns out she gave access during the trial to documentary news crews to have access to very limited parts of the courthouse that weren't accessible to anybody. We learned about her son being one of the IT people, was kind of screwing around and like hunting, like mole hunting for people who are narking on Becky for being corrupt. John Coleman says, I bought the book, it's shit. Well, there we go. Yeah, there were so many problems. This lady fucked with the system so bad that we ended up doing this where there was a hearing in front of a judge picked by the Supreme Court of South Carolina to have a special hearing. And remember, Becky had to come in and admit she had fucked around and she had caused problem after problem after problem after problem on this case. And it just wasn't like, it wasn't right. It wasn't right at all. And this woman did nothing good. It was absolutely, yeah, it was a great hearing. She got her ass kicked. She got her ass kicked. Absolutely. Absolutely. And then Maddie Daddy's been a member for 4 months, says, I'm doing my part, Sandwich Man. Clyde. Well, I'm going to see if I can get Clyde in here real quick. Clyde has a peen. A brand new peen. So I don't know if he's going to come in here. Hold on 1 second. Hey, Clyde. Oh, here he comes. Hi, Bubba. Come here. Hey. 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 Oi. Come here, buddy. Come here. You can hear him. He's like, ugh. Come here, Clyde. Hey. Come on, Clyde. Come on. Hey. Come here. Clyde, come here. Clyde, come here. Hey. Come here, buddy. He's just like staring at me like, you're going to have to come get me, fat man. I'm going to have to come get him. Hold on, chat. He actually came running into my arms, chat, even without the treats. Yes, Clyde has returned, chat. Oh. Yes, he's turned his back on you till you give him shekels. He's like, you know, if DSP could do it, I can do it, and I'm cuter than him. But guys, remember just how lies you have him treats? No, I don't have treats. I don't have treats. He used them all up. They're empty. These are the ones Kimbo got us for Clyde, the heritage brand for Shih Tzus. Empty. Empty. He loves me. I hope so. But anyways, guys, remember we learned about this. Becky Hill was a complete scumbag. And that was one of many things that made it seem like Alex Murdaugh was not getting a fair trial. Shredder, you groomed him. He's a groomer. Oh, yes. I didn't groom him. I just stood by while he was getting groomed. I condoned it. I was complicit. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. John says, why do you turn the camera to stand up? Because I look like a big fat sack of shit. That's why. Because I got to go lean over and I look like a big fat sack of shit. That's why I'm not doing it. Groaning like an old man is not my idea of content. Quality content. Hi, buddy. Oh my gosh, I forgot how good you smell when they give you your special shampoos. You smell so good, buddy. You smell so good. Oh. I'm groomer adjacent. Well, I don't want plumber's crack showing again. There's that too, Eric. Yes. Don't kink shame us. Well, yes, I agree. I agree with the Russell Greer thing. We're not here to kink shame. Okay, Bubby, can I set you down now? Because we got to get into the show. It's time. It's time. Mwah. Okay, so anyway, getting back to Becky Hill. As a result of her testimony at that hearing, she got charged with perjury. Felony perjury. She got charged with misconduct in office and also falsifying records. And she got charged with it. We covered it many months ago. And I say this, that this is the bookend to the Alex Murdaugh story, because I'm not going to, hold on 1 second. I heard 2.0 cackle, so I'm like, uh-oh, what'd I do? Anyway, Alex Murdaugh is going to stay in prison for the rest of his life. He's not going to get a new trial. He's not going to get his charges tossed. Like, I know it sounds good, chat, but it ain't happening. It ain't happening. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to tell you that. You know, it just is what it is, guys. Like, you're going to have to suffer. So you'll survive. You'll survive through this. I promise. I promise you that so much. There we go. He got framed by the mob, but Becky might be in on it. Yeah, he might. Mayday says, can we get in a woo? Yeah, we are going to get in a woo here, because Robert Lawrence gifting 5 subs tonight, chat. Getting us started. Yeah, that gets us in a woo. That gets us in a woo. That gets us in a woo for sure. But remember, this is, like I told you, I'm not going to gas you guys up when something's not going to work. Something's not going to work. It's kind of like why today, Ryan Mullally, if you guys remember Ryan Mullally from Natural Law, he's been on the show a couple times. I would say, I would call him, he has earned friend of the channel. And I would say friend of mine. Ryan's a good guy. You know, he was talking about like what he thought were going to be the percentages of victory on some of these cases going before the court. And I think the Trump Slaughter case that we just went through, it's like 90% certain Trump's going to win. The birthright citizenship case, I think it's like 95% he's going to lose. I just don't see the court overturning it. And that's just, once again, guys, I tell you, I'm not here to gas you up. Great. The law should be something. Cool. That doesn't mean shit, because that's not what the law is. Just like the Second Amendment. I should be allowed to have a stack of fucking AK-47s here in the corner, but guess what? Ain't ever happening. But the law says, the law says a lot of things. That's not the reality on the ground. So I'm never going to gas you up. And for Alex Murdaugh, it's over. It's over. It's been over. As far as it goes. Everything is fine versus why do you break my heart on the daily? I can give you the right answer, I can give you the correct answer or the nice answer. They're not the same usually. They don't become the same answer. Usually the nice answer and the correct answer are generally going to be distinct. Kid Pat says, ain't ever happening. Well, not with that attitude. Okay, well, you know, I'm just telling you the reality of the world. You can choose to accept it or not. You can choose to accept it or not. Don't tell me the odds, I want results. Well, I'm telling you what the results will be. I'm telling you what the results will be. I put on a bikini at $200 of super chats. Yeah, it's like Zia Land. I start taking clothes off at certain points. You got a couple of Clyde Towers in here, chat. I appreciate that. Shredder says it's not clear that Alex Murdaugh was at the scene when they were killed. I know. He's not going to win on an appeal. It's not going to. If he wins his appeal, I'll eat my hat. Okay. I'm just telling you, he's probably not going to win on appeal. Just nobody wins on appeal. Remember, appellate courts have an interest in not overturning cases. In a case like this, they have a massive interest in not overturning it. Once again, get mad at me all you want. I'm here to tell you how the world is, not what it should be. The world should be a lot of different things. The gazelles should not get eaten by the crocodiles when they go to the water to drink. They go to the river to drink, but they get eaten. And it is the circle of life. It is a circle of life. So, isn't Murdaugh appealing to the South Carolina Supreme Court? Yes, Aries. Yep. Aries Athena. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. If you are I know because YouTube screws in the names, but if you're new, thank you for being here. Yeah, but here's the thing: they're not. These courts have an interest in not overturning cases. This is going to be one of those, and I hate to use these as examples, but this is how they operate. And it sucks. It's not fun. It's not cool. But like I said, I'm not here to gas you guys up. And it's the way of the world. It's the way of the world. Oh, let me see here. Oh, Ploxer says hi 2.0. Yes. Hold on. They saying hi. 2.0 is not even paying attention. Shredder S 07. And I do it this way because even though it's my left hand, it looks like it's the right hand to you in chat. For 5 subs. Get you another Awoo chat. We also need to get a new Donnie. I'm hoping 2.0 gets me another Trump for Christmas because I need a new one. Midnight in Exile says hard to accept that you're supposed to follow all the rules, but nobody else does. That's one of those deals where, I don't disagree with you. But then that becomes, now we're having a discussion about political philosophy and political theory, and then what does that entail? And, like I said, there's times we go over on Locals and we talk about how to wire up cell phones to transmit electrical current and, how to make PETN and stuff like that. That's kind of that's the natural progression of that, but it is what it is for the meantime. Oh. Let's see here. What else you guys have? Infinite disappointment reigns supreme. Yeah, well. Once again, it happens. For 200 super chats, Sean will eat a sandwich on stream. For 200, if you guys put in 200, well, are you saying for $200 super chat or for 200 super chats? Because that's a differing amount. Yes, for a $2 super chat, I'll just be fat. But yes, maybe I'll eat a sandwich tonight, Chad. Maybe I'll go make a sandwich. Dolly says, get ready to eat it. Yeah, here you go. This will be the hat I eat. The Make America Green Again hat. Because remember, chat, when you donate those subs, you're helping make America green again, chat, keeping chat green. Am I going to eat the conductor hat? No. Brewbase says you might make more money if you start naked and ask the super chat for you to put more on. Oh, so kind of like a reverse review tech. Yeah, that could work. All right. Well, anyway, let's get to what happened to Becky. So Becky was charged with those 4 counts. She ended up going to court yesterday, and she ended up pleading out. So sorry, chat. That is. I'm not gonna make it a surprise for you in that regard. We're gonna do it though. We're gonna go through a hearing, and this hearing was covered. Fitz News. They are a organization that has been involved in the Murdaugh stuff since the beginning. They've been around covering everything, covering all the scandal, all the intrigue of all that's going on here. By subs, I mean sandwiches, yes. Shredder says, no, I have to eat the choo-choo hat. Well, and yes, with only 60 likes, Clyde does not want to be seen. I know. Clyde is much depressed. Guys, you guys dishonor him. Dishonor bro. Aries Athena says, watching true crime has shown me what a black pill criminal defense could be. Yeah, I mean, there's times where, like your guy didn't do it, or the victim is a massive piece of shit and should be facing some sort of charge. Or if they hadn't have acted like assholes, your client wouldn't have been in trouble. And yeah, it can be blackpilling at times, but you fight for everybody as hard as you can. And you know that you've done what you can for people. You present the evidence in the way you think is best. You organize it the best way. You call the witnesses you think will help. You do what you can for people. And yeah, it's tough on this side. You're the Christians, they're the lions, and the lions ate a lot of Christians. And that's the nature of the game. And it's sad that's the nature of the game. So. But yes, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Thank you for being here, by the way. When are you going to interview Pipkin? I think she's going to stay away from LawTube at this point. So, do we put a trainer on our Christmas tree? No, because there are too many we have 2 cats, and then Clyde and Lainey. No, and then also it's kind of like the way our house is set up, the open room. It wouldn't work. It wouldn't look good. So, I mean, like we could, I just don't know how well it would work. Now, Shredder, you're saying Ashley Benefield, case in point. I don't know what you mean as far as I'm conducting the Malthausen Railway, yes. Matty Daddy says, what has this told me? Don't Google my criminal activities. Yes. Well, and we've learned that from the January 6th bomber. They go back years and years and years to check your stuff. So you basically have to plan a crime like 15 years in advance. Cats equals tree on the floor. Actually, so far, hold on. Knock on wood, the cats have not climbed the tree because it's a fake tree. My favorite train gauge is N scale. We're not. I don't condone that. I'm not dignifying that with the response. So, anyway, guys, this is the courtroom, and this is from Fitz News. Like I said, Fitz News, guys. They have been covering all. Oh God, I had a big freaking hair. They've been covering this stuff from the start. They've been all over it. Yes, I did see the Bonnie Blue stuff. We're gonna save that for Thursday. It's hilarious. This is the organization Fitz News. You guys can see them up here on the top right screen. They've been on this stuff from the beginning. They've been doing all kinds of things. Look at that build. I mean, a lot of court deputies are not the most in shape because they don't generally have to be. But, and a lot of times, like, this guy's probably a retired cop, too. So. But anyways, here we go. Oh, your Doberman opened everyone's Christmas presents while you're out? That's funny. Oh, no. That would be rough. All right, guys. So I'm going to switch myself over to the side of the screen here. I don't mean to cover up their watermark, but it makes sense here. So here we go. Here we go into the hearing. We're just going to see this here.
Good to see you. Murdaugh?
Yes, sir, Your Honor. We're here today on State versus Mary Rebecca Hill. I've got
the indictments and sentence sheets.
And guys, this is going straight. This is a plea with a negotiated sentence. This is common, how this stuff works all the time here. And yes, I do want to get Anonymous said, you said treats. You are now legally obligated. Well, thank you. And then Johan for $2 says, oh my God, Becky. Look at her guilty verdict. It is so big. It's like one of those rap guys' verdicts. Anonymous says, how much to put Clyde in a tiny hat and costume? Well, I don't know what costumes we would get. The chef one has been kind of lost to the sands of time. But I don't know yet. And then Johan for $2 says, so we're never going to build a church on that land. Sadly, no. Not every land is meant for a church, Johan. Not every land is meant for a church. And then Sula, and this is something I just want to get to real quick here with the Alex Murdaugh stuff, is saying, why was the financial stuff allowed in evidence? Because the judge, remember, guys, these, judges are very prosecution friendly, generally speaking. And because he was a shitty judge. He was a shitty judge. That's what you get when you go to Cleveland State University. I believe that's where he went. Judge Newman went to Cleveland State. That's why he's not a University of Toledo man. Let me tell you what. Not a University of Toledo man. But that's it shouldn't have been, but the prosecution was able to get the judge to allow him to do it. I think it was prejudicial, but remember, what's the court going to say? Harmless error, he's guilty anyway. Thank you for being here for 20 months. I appreciate it so very much. And the EDW Raptor says, well, at least you're not the fattest lawyer on social media. Well, I was going to say, it's funny because 2.0, she saw that tweet and she's like, I was thinking it was you too. I thought it was about you as well. And I'm like, thanks, babe. Oh, God. Yes. So let's keep going, guys. Let's keep going here. Here we go.
Prepared for your honor, along with a waiver from Richland County and a waiver also from Colleton County. There's 4 separate charges. 3 of them come out of Colleton County. There's 2 misconducts in office. Those being indictments 2025 GS 15, 289 and 290. For the record, Your Honor, those were indicted under the common law, but we've agreed to proceed on the statute. They're both misdemeanors. And so technically, those would be waivers. And then the obstruction of justice, that's also out of Colleton County. That's a 10-year misdemeanor. And then the perjury out of Richland County, that's a 5-year felony.
Isn't that nice? They end up doing these as misdemeanors. I mean, ultimately, yes, there's a lot that's going to get pled out, but yes, she caught a felony out of this, the perjury. And remember, guys, perjury is like one of the hardest crimes to prove. Remember, it's one of the hardest crimes to prove. Because all you have to say is, sorry, I'm a big idiot, or I forgot, or any number of things. Remember, there's so many ways you could get out of perjury. But in her situation, she kind of was dumb enough to talk herself into it. When she was up there in front of the court in that hearing, she should have been pleading the 5th. And she probably wouldn't have been charged here. Remember, when you are up in that box testifying, you are in an ambush. You may not even, it may seem nice and calm, but there's somebody sitting there in the weeds getting ready to cut you in half with an AK-47. It is an ambush, and you are always on the X. You are basically in a never-ending ambush until you step off the stand. The witness stand is a dangerous place. And that's why you need counsel to help you tell you what you're going into, how you're doing it. For some reason, Becky's attorneys let her testify, which still blows my mind. Because she may have faced a couple of misdemeanors, but even then, they may not have charged her with the misdemeanors that they didn't have the perjury. It's really something to think about. Had she not testified, would she even be convicted at this point? I don't know. And Edie W. Raptor says, imagine having to sit there and learn how your life's about to change with a Christmas tree in the courtroom. Yeah, but you guys, like I said, don't think she's getting drug out back and shot in the parking lot. That's not happening here. So this really doesn't hurt her too much. So anyway, here we go.
Your Honor, other than what I've just mentioned, there's been no other deals, there's no recommendations, no negotiations as to sentence.
Okay. All right, Mr. Clerk, will you please swear in Ms. Hill?
Raise your right hand. Place your left hand on the Bible. State your name, please.
Mary Rebecca Hill.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth in the court today? So help you God.
I do.
State your full name. Spell your last, please.
Mary Rebecca Hill, Hill.
All right, Mr. Lewis, have you explained the nature and elements of the charges, potential punishment, as well as Ms. Hill's constitutional rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
And have you explained to her her right to have these cases submitted to the Richland County and Colleton County grand juries?
I have, Your Honor.
Do you believe she understands the charges, potential punishment, as well as her rights?
I do, Your Honor.
And have you discussed with her right to have the Richland County case heard in Richland County and the Colleton County cases heard in Colleton County?
Yes, Your Honor. We waive jurisdiction.
Okay, so I'm agree to have it heard here in Colleton County.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you Ms. Hill,
Yes, sir.
how old are you?
58.
How far did you go in school?
Now, chat, I am not a South Carolina practitioner, but you can waive, if you hear, she waived procedural issues. She waived the procedural issues about having her case heard in a certain place at a certain time by a certain body. She's allowing this judge to dispose of her cases. So when you hear about these, are you consenting to all this? Are you waiving it? That's what they're going through there. And it's very funny because the guy who held up that Bible and made her swear, that was the clerk for that county. So it's probably one of her colleagues. It's very funny how that probably all worked out. I do think it's interesting, though, in South Carolina, they don't say, do you swear or affirm? It's just, do you swear? Because if you guys have noted, you probably don't realize that when they say, do you swear or affirm, there are people who believe that they don't think it's right to swear on the Bible. There are also like sovereign citizen types who like, I don't swear anything. So you affirm, do you promise to tell the truth is basically what they're asking her. So does she get to keep the money from her tell-all book? I don't actually know, Justin. Maybe we'll get to that here today. Maybe we will. I kind of get the feeling the book companies were like, give us the money back or we'll fucking sue you. But I don't know. I don't know. Yes, and Fire Pixie, yes, we do have the firing squad for executions. Yes, you guys do. You in Utah are some of the keeping it real. All right, here we go. Maddie's saying, if you were an attorney, would you call the deal a dub? Yeah, I mean, like, here's the problem. They've got her dead to rights. I mean, from what we were able to learn about her misconduct in office, it was clear and egregious. Her obstructing was clear and egregious. Basically, she was, like, destroying records. And then her perjury, yeah, maybe not. You would have won on that. But at the end of the day, like, she's, you know, they're not asking for her to go to prison. And, like, at some points, yeah, it's still a dub is, you know, your client not getting hauled out in handcuffs is the dub. And here, that's kind of one of the deals. Can we negotiate it out? Can we work something out? Let's make a deal. Yeah, I would say this is a dub if I was her attorney. I mean, like, I don't know how much better you're going to make it in this situation. Given what she did, I don't know how much better it would have gone for her. I don't know how much better it would have gone for her. So here we go.
High school.
What do you do for a living?
Now I'm currently retired.
Married?
Yes, sir.
I mean, do you have any children?
I have 2 children.
Do you suffer from any physical or mental condition that will prevent you from understanding what we're doing today?
No, Your
Have
Honor.
you consumed any alcohol, drugs, or other medication that would impair your ability to understand what we're doing today?
No, Your Honor.
You understand this plea is taking place here in Calhoun County, and you have the right to have both of 3 of the charges heard in Colleton County and 1 heard in Richland County.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you agree to waive that, but you want me to hear it here today.
Yes, Your Honor.
When you enter a guilty plea, you give up important constitutional rights. Those include your right to remain silent, not be compelled to testify against yourself. You also have a right to a jury trial where the state would have to prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. In the event you exercise your right to a trial, you have the right to have Mr. Lewis cross-examine and confront witnesses against you and compel witnesses to appear and testify on your behalf. You also have the right to have these 3 of the charges presented to the Colleton County grand jury, 1 of them presented to the Richland County grand jury, where in each of those cases, 12 of 18 grand jurors will determine whether or not the case goes forward. Finally, you have a right to present certain defenses, which you.
Now that's something I think is good, and I think that's something every state should have to have. As we learned in the Aaron Spencer trial, we've also learned through Kyle Rittenhouse and other cases, a prosecutor in many states could just file charges against you, and that's it. Thankfully, South Carolina is a pretty base state in that regard, that you can only be indicted and face a felony through indictment by the grand jury. Ohio's the same way. You can only face a felony via indictment from the grand jury. If the grand jury refuses to indict, you cannot be charged with a felony absent your waiver to do so. And I know some of you will say, why would you waive it? And I mentioned before, there are procedurally times where you might want to do that. But overall, yes. He's just going through everything she has to understand, that she could be tried in the counties where these things occurred, but they're trying it in a different county because there's conflicts of interest, very likely, as far as what happened here.
Waive or give up when you plead guilty. You understand all those rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
Understand the rights I've explained to you. Do you wish to plead guilty and give up those rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you're pleading guilty to 2 counts of misconduct in office. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Hubbard's range is not on here.
It's 1 year and a fine of up to $1,000. I apologize, Your Honor.
Okay.
I did not put that on any of the sheets.
And the obstruction of justice,
Carries up to 10 years.
up to 10. And perjury is 5.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Ms. Hill, you understand the potential sentences in each of those cases?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, do you fully understand the nature of the charges against you and the range of possible punishment?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you satisfied with the manner in which Mr. Lewis has advised and represented you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Have you had the opportunity to review all the evidence against you and discuss it with Mr. Lewis?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you need any more time to speak with him?
No, sir, I don't.
Do you believe he's done everything for you that he could or should have done?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you completely satisfied with his services?
Yes.
Has anybody promised you anything or threatened you in any manner to get you to plead guilty here today?
No, Your Honor.
You understand you got 10 days from today's date to appeal your guilty plea and my sentence.
Yes, Your Honor.
Understanding the nature of the charges and the consequences of a guilty plea, how do you plead here today?
I plead guilty, Your
To
Honor.
all 4 charges?
Yes, sir.
Tell me about it, Ms. Hubbard.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Your Honor. And I'd like to begin, if I would, explaining why I'm here. This was an Attorney General's case. This is not a conflict case, but Attorney General Alan Wilson wanted to bring me in as a fresh set of eyes, let me go to a prosecution team, gave me the benefit of Ben Appleton, one of his appellate lawyers. But I do have the letter where he designated me to handle this case with my team. It's dated July 10th of 2024. I'd like to make that a court's exhibit.
And I guess maybe we should explain as well why I'm here. I was appointed by the Chief Justice with exclusive jurisdiction over this case to hear it anywhere in the state because
So you can hear that even they're putting things on the record that are critical here to protect the record. So, for example, this prosecutor is saying, I have special appointments. I'm putting on the record I have these appointments. This is his way of sealing up the record and showing I had because that way Becky can't try to come back later and that this was all being done above board. This is actually how you should do it. I have these special things here. For example, here in Ohio, if a judge is out and they appoint a visiting judge or an acting judge to come in to handle stuff, that judge will enter an entry that gets put in every single case as part of the record saying, my name's Judge Bob. I'm here on appointment for the Supreme Court to fill in for Judge Susie. This is actually all important here. Roscoe, we're going to talk about Whistling Diesel on Thursday. But yes, I've been keeping up on it. Very interesting case.
Chief Justice Kittredge's order, so I guess that would explain that as well. So go ahead.
And thank you for having us here, Your Honor. I mean, for us, and talking with the defense, it wasn't important where we handled this, just as long as it was handled. But, Your Honor, the authority given to me specifically, both in the letter and vocally to me, was for me to lead my team and for me to make that decision whether there's anything to prosecute, and if there was, to proceed on it. I had carte blanche authority to proceed as I saw fit. So the team I had my deputy solicitor, Suzanne Mays, who's got 30 plus years in, Bruce Norton from my office, an assistant solicitor. And again, I mentioned Ben Applin with the AG's office. And frankly, I'd love to have an appellate lawyer on every case I prosecute. So it's been great having him. And I got my staff. I've got Lauren Bigger staff, who's my paralegal, and I've had 2 investigators on this case. I've got James Sullivan and John Bishop from my office. So this was a collaborative effort. This is how we approach our cases. Our goal was to simply look through the massive investigations that were conducted here and to see what, if anything, rose to the level of crime. And if something did, could we prosecute it successfully and prove it beyond a reasonable doubt? There's 2 separate investigations. Generally speaking, there was SLED, but also the State Ethics Commission. Each independently had investigations into Ms. Hill's conduct. Those investigations overlapped to some extent. The ethics investigation began July of 2023. 2 separate complaints came in concerning Ms. Hill about potential misconduct during her tenure as Clerk of Court. These investigations by the Ethics Commission uncovered what they believe to be numerous instances of ethical violations. And our job was to review those findings and see what, if anything, rose to the level of a criminal offense. The SLED investigation began January 5th of 2024 into potential criminal misconduct, again, from Ms. Hill, involving both money matters, but also issues arising out of the trial of State versus Murdaugh. What we did is we met with all of the SLED investigators and with the investigators from the State Ethics Commission. We reviewed all their reports, including their interviews, their audio interviews, their video interviews. Some instances we asked for additional information so we could have some clarity on issues. And our focus again was what appears to rise to the level of a crime, and can we prove it in a court of law beyond reasonable doubt? I'm a firm believer that if I can't prove something in court, I'm wasting my time bringing a charge. Our review resulted in 4 separate charges, the ones that are before you: 2 counts of misconduct in office, an obstruction of justice, and a perjury charge. Beginning with the first misconduct in office, which is indictment 289. That deals with money, and frankly, Title 4D money and some other county money out of Colleton County, and where Ms. Hill gave herself bonuses. As you know, Title 4D money is a program, a federal program, and it's created to help families get assistance with child support.
And that was, guys, and remember, this is where we learn about how big of a shitbag Becky Hill was. She was doling out money to herself. She was paying herself out of county funds. Very, very improper. Guys, we went through her ethics complaint. Holy cow, she did so much crooked crap. And Eric says, I appreciate the Christmas tree in the courtroom. Yeah, well, courtrooms get festive. Scott says the blue leather chairs are nice. Guys, that's the thing. Depending on where you're at, some courtrooms are absolutely beautiful. Like these older style courtrooms, I love. You know, going into a brand new courtroom is kind of neat, but it's nice when you go into a courtroom that's stuck back in time. It's cool. It's cool. And Stephen Cooper says, have I seen the update notes for U-Boat? No, I hadn't really read them. So I finally got through a whole campaign, though. And I went to I made it to Argentina. Oh, my God, that took forever. And it was really dangerous. Anyways, here we go.
Has an enforcement mechanism where a clerk of court can augment the salary of her employees for that enforcement process. And technically it's supposed to be, you give them a percentage of money based on the percentage of work. The money she was providing was styled as a bonus. I didn't have an issue with that. But the issue we did have is that she gave herself this money as well. In Your Honor, we believe that as an elected official, you cannot augment your salary. It goes directly to the statute that she's indicted under and to the common law as well. You cannot monetarily benefit.
And guys, if you're not aware, and you could probably check this out in your state, elected officials' salaries are set by law. So, for example, being a prosecutor, being the county prosecutor, you make so much. Being a judge in the Court of Common Pleas, you make so much. Being an appeals judge, you make so much. Being Supreme Court justice, you make so much. Being the county coroner, you make so much. There are ways these things are set. So it's very, and that's why he's pointing out, like, we set them because we don't want these officials to start being corrupt like that. But here we go. She did it anyway.
From your elected position. And so over a period of September 1st, 2021 through March 5th of 2024, she awarded herself a total of $9,880 in bonuses entitled 4D money. In addition, she awarded herself $2,000 in bonus money from her clerk fund, her Colleton County Clerk of Court's office funds. We believe all that was inappropriate because that augmented her salary. The total restitution for that is $11,880. And I'm talking to the defense, they do have a check prepared today to pay that amount back. And it's to Colleton County. Colleton County will then put it in the proper accounts. As to the other misconduct charge, June 7th of 2023, Ms. Hill used her official position as Clerk of Court to promote her book, Behind the Doors of Justice, The Murdaugh Murders. She filmed a video promoting her book in her office with her nameplate, Clerk of Court. She clearly used the trappings of her office in this video to promote her book. There was one purpose of the video: to sell books. The video was then published through the Walterboro Chamber of Commerce's official YouTube channel to put that information out there to advertise her book. Again, the theory behind this is the same as the first misconduct charge, that she was using her office to make money, and you can't do that. Those both charges arose initially out of the State Ethics Commission's investigations. There was overlap with the SLED investigations. Turning to the SLED investigations, the primary one that we ended up focusing on was what we've now got as obstruction of justice, which is the 10-year misdemeanor charge under the common law. While serving as Clerk of Court during the trial of State v. Murdaugh, she provided unauthorized individuals with access to sealed exhibits in violation of a written order from the judge, Judge Newman, but also is in violation of her duties as Clerk of Court. Specifically, January 14th of 2024, SLED was advised that there were several graphic crime scene photos that were designated as sealed exhibits during that trial. And
this is where look, sealed exhibits. And she let these documentary film crews go and take a look at them.
They had been released improperly. SLED also received photos of text messages containing pictures of these sealed exhibits. The contents of the photos indicated they had been taken inside the Colleton County Courthouse. The investigation established that the photographs of the sealed exhibits were posted on Twitter after a member of the media shared the photos with a personal acquaintance. The metadata of those photos, as Your Honor knows, in the digital age, you don't just have a photo, but we can tell where it was made, when it was made. The metadata from the pictures of the sealed exhibits showed the photographs were taken on February the 28th, 2023 at 7:49 p.m. inside the Colleton County Courthouse during the trial of State v. Murdaugh. In fact, it was after hours, so there was no business going on at the courthouse. The security card and access log showed that Ms. Hill's security card was the one that allowed access to the secured area where the photographs were taken, And that access card shows she was there from 7:46 p.m. to 8:06 p.m. So it puts her there at the time these sealed exhibits were photographed. These same photographs were then placed on Twitter and shared with others. An interview with a member of the media who admitted being present at the time acknowledged that Ms. Hill provided multiple members of the media with unrestricted access to evidence from the Murdaugh trial, including those sealed exhibits. Obviously, these were photos that the jury was going to see or had, were presented in court, but the judge was obviously very concerned about the public seeing them and any type of influence that it might have on the jury. There's nothing in the investigation that shows that any juror members were affected by this. But obviously, it's a serious charge, violated a judge order, but also it threatened the integrity of the trial itself. The perjury charge arose much later. That's a 5-year felony.
Isn't it nice? And guys, notice this is how government works. Sure, she did all this heinous stuff, but don't worry, it didn't ruin it. You're like, how do you know that? And the answer is we really don't know. We really don't know. We really don't know what happened here. We really don't know what happened here. Yeah, how are people this stupid? Well, she's a boomer. Remember, guys, it's a tattle machine. Got to screenshot stuff to avoid and crop and filter and launder and remove remove all your data, chat, remove all your metadata. You got to be smart. Got to be smart. Yep, open a picture in MS Paint and save it as a file type. 100%. Yep. Yep.
January 29th of 2024, Ms. Hill was called to testify in a hearing before former Chief Justice Jean Toll regarding allegations of improper jury contact during the Murdaugh trial. While being questioned under oath, there was an issue of some photos that were sealed that improperly got out into the public. It turned out that those had not been sealed. It was a mistake. But what Justice Toll did is she then questioned Ms. Hill specifically about those sealed exhibits. She asked, quote, "Did you ever allow anyone from the press to view the sealed exhibits?" And this is under oath, and Ms. Hill's response was no, ma'am. Later during the same line of questioning, Judge Toll asked, quote, "Were any press people ever allowed to view exhibits, even the sealed exhibits that you had on file?" And again, Ms. Hill's answer under oath was no, ma'am. That constitutes perjury, and that's the basis for that charge, Your Honor. These investigations covered a wide variety of actions, a number of them that we looked at, but we didn't believe we had enough evidence to proceed on, including allegations of wiretapping. The court may know that Ms. Hill's son, Jeffrey Hill, right now has pending charges for wiretapping. He served as IT director for Colleton County at the same time she was clerk of court. So when they...
Oh, yep. Imagine that. And imagine these guys probably, and her son probably thought he was hot shit. I'm going to help spy for my mama. And now look what happened. They all look like a couple of yokels. Brilliant fucking work out there to the Hill family. Brilliant job. Yes. Whoa, buddy, indeed. Whoa, buddy, indeed. Just think about how stupid and greedy these people are. Just how stupid they are.
They were investigating that complaint. SLED was also looking at Ms. Hill to see if she was part of that wiretapping. This was back in 2023, as I said. Ms. Hill, being subject to that investigation, there was never evidence that she had knowledge. That's something I would have to proceed forward. It appeared clear that she had information from her son that we know he gleaned from wiretapping. But we had no evidence to link her and show knowledge of wiretapping. And Your Honor knows that would be a fatal charge. There would be a directed verdict. If I did indict and try to proceed, I could not prove that. The other issue we looked at was improper jury contact, which was the basis of Justice Hull's hearing. Of course, our standard of review is very different from the one the court will take. For us, we were looking at, did action take place that arose to the level of a crime? And if there was action there, could we prove it beyond a reasonable doubt? It's the way we approach everything. That's what we do as prosecutors. Specifically, there were 3 jurors who alleged this improper contact. I'll just refer to them by numbers because right now, the only person I'm focused on and the authority I have to focus on is Ms. Hill. But juror number 630, who actually served on the jury and rendered a verdict on that case, was one of those. Juror 785, who was removed by Judge Newman during the course of the trial before deliberations. He removed her for the purpose of improperly discussing the case with others before the deliberation began. And the final juror that brought an allegation was juror 741, who served as an alternate and did not participate in the verdict. These 3 jurors, particularly 785 and 630, have given multiple and different accounts of Ms. Hill's conduct. All of them have their own variation of what they say happened, and all of them, at least in post-interview, specifically 785 and 630, have changed somewhat in what they have said. None of them brought these issues up before the court at the time. This information came out after defense attorneys for Mr. Murdaugh were looking and talking to jurors. Nothing improper on their part. They have a right to do that. Just at various issues they were looking at. These inconsistencies that we have, particularly we have affidavits, but like one affidavit from 630 says her vote, the pressure she felt was from other jurors. She makes allegations about Ms. Hill's conduct, but her vote was basically the pressure she felt from other jurors. That has since changed. As Your Honor knows, if I were to prosecute this case, all 3 of these jurors would be my.
Isn't it interesting how he's like, well, he's like, it's too hard. But it's clear they said things, so were they lying then or lying now? Notice, this is some political intrigue here. Things are being put to bed. And they're putting it all to bed under the guise of, we've got the bad man. The bad lady right here is bad. And we're going to pretend the rest of this didn't happen. Interesting how that goes, isn't it, Chad?
Key witnesses. And the inconsistencies would be insurmountable if I proceeded forward. In addition, what SLED did is they interviewed the remaining 11 jurors. None of them corroborate these 3 jurors. One juror out of that whole bunch said something about, Ms. Hill said something about the defendant's demeanor, but in his statement to SLED, he said, I didn't know what she was talking about. My vote was my vote. It was based on the evidence. So there was nothing to really go on with that juror. Otherwise, all of them denied everything that was said in the back room by Ms. Hill. Many of them said she was very professional when she was back there, and she only talked about the things that were the judge had sent her back there to talk about. I would be facing a trial with 11 witnesses on a jury coming in to say everything the state is saying is not true. In addition, Your Honor, when Justice Hull had her hearing in Columbia on jury misconduct or Ms. Hill's improper contact with the jurors, she also interviewed each of those 11 jurors under oath. And again, they all reiterated that they didn't hear anything and that it didn't affect their vote. The court has a different standard, obviously, and I know there's appellate issues in Murdaugh. That's not my concern. My only and sole concern was what evidence do we have?
He's saying that ultimately he doesn't want to try this because some of these people would say, it didn't affect me, or if it did, it didn't really matter. I was going to do what I was going to do anyway. So that's kind of where we're holed up on this. And no, I think there should be a clear issue of, if you fuck with a jury, regardless of what they were going to do, the penalty should be the trial is over. The conviction's overturned, because guess what? That's the only way people like Becky, who fuck around with things, are going to learn and make sure things are done the right way going forward. There has to be drastic punishment Otherwise, this stuff will be allowed to continue. Sadly, that's the thing. That's sad.
And then can I prove it in a court of law beyond a reasonable doubt? And the answer is, frankly, I don't know that I have enough based on what we have to even give an indictment. But I do know this based on my 35 years experience and the collective experience of the team we have, we could not get a conviction because we cannot prove that case beyond a reasonable doubt. Your Honor, those are the major issues we looked at. As Ms. Hill pleads today, she has no record. Again, other than the misconduct charges being from common law to statute, there are no recommendations or negotiations as to the sentence.
All right, Ms. Hill, do you substantially agree with the facts that the solicitor just told me?
Yes, Your Honor.
I find there's a substantial factual basis for the decision to plead guilty. I find that her decision to plead guilty is freely, voluntarily, and knowingly made. Ms. Hill understands she's giving up important constitutional rights by pleading guilty, and she has had advice and counsel from a competent attorney with whom she says she's satisfied. Mr. Lewis.
Yes, Your Honor. I do want to address just a couple of things regarding sentencing, and I know Your Honor is familiar with everything that's laid out by Solicitor Hubbard. First and foremost, Ms. Hill's coming.
Arrest him!
Here accepting responsibility from day one. I think Solicitor Hubbard and the Attorney General would agree in all of those investigations that were discussed from day one, Ms. Hill has cooperated. And in every court that I've been in, cooperation results in.
Has she really? Has she really cooperated? I mean, I don't think there's much cooperation needed.
Benefit for the defendant. But I would be remiss if I did not talk about what Ms. Hill is not pleading guilty to. Okay, Solicitor Hubbard hit this a little bit, but frankly, for the benefit of a lot of people watching, for the last few years, the allegations about Ms. Hill, whether it be jury tampering or wiretapping, that's not why we're here. That is not for consideration for Your Honor. And that is not what she's accepting responsibility for. She's accepting responsibility for what she did. And it was serious crimes and serious misconduct, and that's why she's here. But when we get rid of the noise surrounding this, we actually look at the conduct in front of Your Honor. And Your Honor, I'm a product of federal court predominantly. That's kind of how I think about these sentencing issues. And I think about the three goals of sentencing. That when someone's sitting you and what you're doing, it's specific deterrence to prevent her from reoffending, general deterrence, someone else sees this.
And what's the general deterrence going to be? Because it seems like she completely fucked around, dicked around in a criminal massive murder trial, and didn't get it overturned so far by the grace of God. Like, what's the game plan here, Hoss? I really want to hear. This is where he's lucky I was the judge. Be like, no, she needs to go to fucking jail. Motherfuckers need to know you can't do this. This is unacceptable conduct.
Don't want them to do it, and then full justice for the victims. And when I look at that framework for Ms. Hill, well, there is truly no one who can come in this courtroom and say that Ms. Hill, 58-year-old grandmother, a mother, has been employed her whole life, helps almost every single day with one of her special needs grandchildren, taught herself sign language to help people, including her
Okay, I'm not going to make the joke.
goddaughter, served her community, and continues to do up to today, is at any risk of reoffending. And the fact that she has agreed.
And that's because she's not in office anymore. She can't screw around anymore. That's not the own I think you think it is. She's out of office. So she can't abuse her power again.
From day one to accept this perjury count as a felony, she's literally logically prohibited from creating misconduct in office again. I mean, she can't legally do it. So the risk of reoffense, at least as to Ms. Hill, is non-existent, regardless of all respect, regardless of your sentence. If I think about general deterrence, I don't think anyone who's watched the saga that Ms. Hill has gone through over the last couple of years would think this is a good idea. I mean, a lot of times we think about collateral consequences in this circumstance. She's lost her life. She's given up her position. She faces shame every day. I mean, she's frankly on home detention right now in her own community, just trying to avoid the hoopla that's going on surrounding Ms. Hill. I don't think anyone in their right mind would think this is worth it. On top of that, Your Honor, for the last consideration,
I don't know about that.
Full justice to the victim, the only victim that has been named is Colleton County. And before she pled guilty, Ms. Hill has given a check for full restitution for every single dime that she has of any monetary benefit for any of these alleged schemes, she is paying back. And that is her trying to right the wrongs before her. So when we look at it from...
We'll say this much, guys. This is good lawyering here. And it is smart, if you do owe money, that you can make it up. And yes, it helps a lot. I can walk into court and say, Your Honor, restitution has already been made in full. Now, you can't. Sometimes you can't do it. But this was $11,000. So she could make that up. I'm sure they told her she got to scrimp and get some stuff going there. But no, I think overall that is a very good point to make here. And I think that he's doing a great job, but if I'm the judge, I'm putting her in jail just as a deterrent. Has anybody really been deterred? Because there's like had nobody talked and had she not been a complete boob, she probably would have got away with all this. So I don't see how this has really been deterrence at this point.
Those circumstances, Your Honor, if we're thinking about, a punishment that is sufficient but not greater than necessary to achieve those goals, a non-custodial sentence is the only reasonable sentence. The last thing that I will touch on before Ms. Hill speaks to you is we always try to avoid sentencing disparities in these circumstances. Unfortunately, in South Carolina, at least recently, we do have a history of Attorney General prosecutions of former public officials involving misconduct in office. And when I looked at prior sentences involving misconduct in office, involving significantly more money, taken over a longer period of time, with more repeated conduct than what we have here, just these limited bonuses, we have non-custodial sentences. I even ran the federal sentencing guidelines because I couldn't find a perjury prosecution sentence. Fully, Your Honor, I couldn't find one from state statistics. And I ran it under the guidelines, which I know from your prior experience you're familiar with. That's a base level 14, 3 levels down, she's 11. That's a split sentence, non-custodial, even in federal court. So if we're looking at similar sentences given for these type of crimes for someone with no criminal history like Ms. Hill, frankly, there isn't precedent, unless they know something otherwise, and I don't think they do, for a custodial sentence in this case, Your Honor, at least from a sentencing disparity. And the last thing I'll say before you hear from Ms. Hill, Your Honor, is she's going to give a short statement, and I've been on the other side of hearing these statements. I've observed a lot of sentencings. I've been here where you hear I'm sorry, and you hear I'm ashamed, and you hear I'm going to do better. And a lot of times, I think those statements fall on deaf ears because the person making them can't support it. It's just something said after I get called. That is not the circumstance that we have with Ms. Hill. We have support. She's trying to make things better. She literally is paying back every dollar she owes. Since day one, she's been approached with this. She has cooperated. She has done what she's supposed to do. This does not minimize her crimes, but in the context of committing on who she is as a person and what she's going to do, she's doing the right steps. So when you do hear the statement from Ms. Hill, I hope that you see the support behind it. And we do ask for any non-custodial sentence within your discretion, whether that be probation, home detention, anything else. But we do feel that a custodial sentence in this case would result in a sentencing disparity unwarranted by the circumstances, Your Honor.
All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Hill.
Your Honor, I want to say that I am truly sorry. And I do take full responsibility for my actions. And I know that I have let down this court, my community, and the people that put their trust in me. There is no excuse for my mistakes. I am ashamed of them. And I will carry that shame with me for the rest of my life. I have already begun the hard work of rebuilding the relationships that I damaged by accepting responsibility, by seeking forgiveness from those that I love, and by repaying any improper bonus I received. I am committed to making amends, to being honest, and to living in a way that reflects the values that I failed to uphold. Your Honor, I respectfully ask for the opportunity to continue supporting my family and to work every day to rebuild the trust that I have broken.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Anything else?
No, Your Honor.
How do you plan to rebuild that trust you've broken? How do you do all that? How do you do all that? No, there's not a train under that tree in the court, I guarantee you. But how does she fix all this? Yeah, she needs time to reflect. Yes, it's just I don't think I would have had her say it all like that. That was just awful. Her attorney did a good job, but her doing that was just an awful canned statement. I just bad for Becky.
Thanks. All right, anything else from state?
No, sir, Your Honor.
Snorts. Phil was there.
Mrs. Lewis, did she have any time served?
No, Your Honor, she was there for about 8 hours.
So a day? All right, I've certainly taken in what all has been presented here today, and I can tell you, Ms. Hill, had Mr. Hubbard's team uncovered any sort of jury tampering, there would be a much different sentence here today. There's probably nothing more sacred in our system than the jury, and
which makes you wonder how many other times she's fucked around on a jury. Which makes you really wonder how many other times she's done this. But here's the problem. She's not learned anything. She's not learned how to handle to do things. It's sweepy time. And it's absolutely disgusting that he's just coming out here and saying, well, had you done this, it would be worse. She tried. It wasn't for a lack of effort. It wasn't for a lack of effort here. She should be getting hammered with some, I don't care you're not sending her to prison, but I think for someone like her, if she spent 30 days in jail, that would buck break a woman like her. But it would also send a message to everybody else in the area, don't screw with the process. But instead, she's just getting a tussle on the hair and, she's not learning.
had there, and I've known Mr. Hubbard since his hair was dark and I had some hair. So if his team, and I know both the lawyers on his team, and if they tell me at least they couldn't prove it, then that's enough for me. I'm sure you have, and I know you've been humiliated throughout this whole ordeal, but of your own doing. I think a lot of folks got swept up in the hoopla that was that trial, and unfortunately, with the obstruction charge, a lot of folks probably made a lot of money, but you didn't, by virtue of that. But with that being said, I would agree.
I mean, for somebody like her, I guess, yes, missing out on all that money probably does hurt her. So in a way, I mean, like, there is some suffer here that's like, you didn't make your money, but I guess I just wish there was more than that we were dealing with. But it sounds like for now, no, that is in fact not what we're getting out of this. So we are going to have to suffer, chat.
With Mr. Lewis, I don't think this, the conduct here warrants an incarcerated sentence. So on the misconduct in office, on each of those, I find should be committed to Department of Corrections for a term of 1 year, divided upon service of 1 day, time served, balance be suspended with probation for 3 years. There will also be 100 hours of community service associated with one of those. I didn't put it on all the sentencing sheets because I didn't want probation to misinterpret it and give her 400 hours. Okay. On the obstruction of justice, I find should be committed to Department of Corrections for a term of 5 years. Private on service, 1 day, time served, balance be suspended with probation for 3 years. And finally, on the perjury, I should be committed to Department of Corrections for a term of 5 years. Private on service, 1 day, time served, balance be suspended with probation for 3 years. Good luck to you, man.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes, I will say, if you guys haven't seen the Brandon Herrera 30-06 Tommy gun video, it's pretty good. Although Ian McCollum already, I think, did something on that previously. But Ravensy saying suffer, S-U-F-F-A-H. Ethan Ralph, when he would say suffer, would say suffer. Although that's more of Ethan Ralph being impressioned by PPP, being me. It's my take of PPP's take of Ethan Ralph. So suffer, chat. But yeah, there you go. There you go. Does that feel like justice to you guys? It doesn't to me. It doesn't to me. This wasn't an accident. Yeah, good luck on your book, ma'am. Yeah. Stacy, yeah, if we only get out of 11 years, no. She was facing up to 16 years of prison time. They were 10-year misdemeanors. She was facing a lot of time, actually. Yeah, I guess the jury system isn't that much sacred after all. So Robert Lawrence says, how much is she getting? Basically, she's getting 1 year suspended, hanging over her head on probation. So she has probation for 3 years, and she gets credit for 1 day, and then the 364 days are hanging over her head. So there you go. Mayonnaise saying she didn't make any money with the book. No, because immediately it turned out she had basically she had plagiarized it. So it sounds like she had to give all the money back, which is a good thing. But yeah. So yep, she tampered with the jury to sell more copies of her book. Yep. Yeah. Sorry, guys. I mean, yeah. Sucks. Demon's Wrath. Been a member for 11 months. Says Nate Higgers, chat N. Okay. Maddie Daddy says Sean, the Browns or the Bengals. Oh, come on now. Browns all the way. Stacy says fly to a different city, visit a library, use your computers to Google crime stuff. Well, now you've made a trip for some reason. Like there's too much of an electronic footprint. You really have to like plan this thing out way in advance. I'm not joking. I'm not joking at all, chat. Okay. Let's see here. Some other things here. Aries says, how did she get charged with embezzlement? Well, they charged her with the misconduct in office for stealing the money. So I'm not sure why they didn't, but that's what they charged her with. And Diane says, when does a courtroom recognize a Christmas tree, Sean? Just curious. I mean, like, I'm not sure what you mean here, Diane, so I'm not sure. Justin Hancock says, yeah, not being able to prove something beyond a reasonable doubt hasn't ever stopped these guys before. Very true. Geopathic says, what about her son? Well, that got addressed. Yes, her son's got his own issues he's still dealing with. Get a burner phone, use public Wi-Fi. I mean, there's ways to do it. But it's tough. 18 says, which one? The Browns in Cleveland or the ones in Baltimore? Fuck you. Yeah, like I said, Territory. Imagine the other one she's screwed with. God knows what she's bent the rules on. Yeah, but it's imagine that. They probably haven't, having crappy cases hasn't stopped prosecutors before. Happens all the time. So I'm a secret Cowboys fan. I mean, like, I don't mind the Cowboys. It's America's team. So the court could take notice of the tree. Yes. I'm a secret Notre Dame fan. Okay, just because I'm Catholic does not mean I'm a Notre Dame fan. No, Notre Dame's problem is all the Notre Dame fans. So. Well, anyways, chat. Yeah, that's it. Does that feel like justice to you? Does it feel like justice? Not to me. Not to me. Not to me. So, I mean, this is the good guys don't always win and the bad guys don't always lose, chat. Despite what Eminem tells you in the song, the bad guys don't always die, and it's not always sad, and sometimes the bad guys don't end up dying. So it's just something to think about, you guys. Something to think about. Miss Becky needs a stretch. Jeez. That sounds a little rough. Motor Soldier, that seems a little rough there. Anybody who ever abuses power like this should have max charges. I mean, yeah, she should have some time here, but remember, these people are all politicians. The judge is a politician. That solicitor, he may be appointed, but he still has politics he has to play. He might have been a county prosecutor. He has political considerations. Remember, it's the tree branches, the branches of government. The branches of the tree don't attack each other because it would kill the tree. So remember, the government will not kill itself. As much as you'd want it to, it won't do it. I should almost make that a fucking short. The government won't kill itself. I said that so many times here. Said it so many times. Oh, let's see here. All four branches, yes. Yep. Yeah, does not seem like justice. Everything is fine over here. It says, I feel empty. Seller says, when are we going to get a full How to Crime Successfully stream? I don't know. Because I don't know what crime you want to commit. We have to, as they come up, we'll talk about fieldcraft and other techniques you can use. That's probably the easiest way. Sula says, sorry for your loss on Sunday. Go Bears. Hey, you know what? Shedor wasn't too bad. I guess he's better than I guess everybody thought. So, maybe. So, yeah. Make a shirt or a cup. Yeah. Oh my God, they granted the grocery store trust? What are you talking about? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Oh, you're saying above the public's trust. He means the public, like the body politics trust. Low tier God for judge. That would be funny. Oh. I need a desktop vodka still. And then, guys, we have sex robots again. Apparently, is this... This must be Aaron Imholt's inner thoughts. Aaron, quit using your sock accounts. Post like a man under your real account. Don't hide your feelings. Don't hide your feelings. It's Andy Worski's alt account, yes. Winter Soldier says only if you spit on it. Oh. Yes, Matthew Harden is getting very spicy in the battle against Russell Greer. Oh my God, it is spiraling out of control in a hilarious manner, chat. Not on the side of the farms, but Russell Greer. It's kind of like in Top Gun when Maverick flies through the jet wash and he loses power and gets into a flat spin and just whoa. He's just thud. He's about to thud right into the ground. Emon Reza says, no wonder Nick misses him. Aaron's message was so hot. Yes. Peter Key says, oh my God, that was disturbing. Well, hey, you know what? You're going to get Aaron professing his love. People professing their love is never disturbing. Adults being in love. Derek says, have I ever seen Law Abiding Citizen? Yes. Yes, or as I saw it, Gerard Butler was a crybaby. Some guy who was supposed to like defend America got mad at the people who were defending America and using the Constitution he was sworn to protect. Like, he just didn't kill the rapist and the murderer. He killed everybody else because he's a crybaby. So, yes. Diane says, love you, Sean, at 2.0. Of course, Clyde. Of course. And Lyle Crocodile says, can I jack off to you while I shower myself with your shit? I mean, sure, if you want to. That seems like, depending on the day, that seems like that might be doable, or sometimes might be like kind of difficult. Depends on the day. Let me see here. Is that a movie? Law Abiding Citizen is a movie, yes. Shredder S07 says, what will Russell say when he crashes? I don't know. He'll go, nah! Been a member for 17 months. Thank you for your support, Shredder. Oh, make sure it's on chilly night. Seller says, so glad we got Kick working again. Yeah, and I gotta start making Rumble work again too. I gotta figure out what to do there. Yes, Johan says, guys, remember, rip to Erica, a real one. Rest in peace, Erica. Oh. Russell Greer will pity pay a whore. Well, it's not really pity paying when you're paying the hoe, but they'll give you pity time, and I'm sure, as we're learning, Russell is insane, so. I got better numbers than the kill stream. Well, hey, let's start the world famous and illustrious kill stream. So, during Ninja goes, bish. All right, guys, that is it for us. That is it for us here. Yes, let me purchase a $15 Prime membership where most of the movies I have to pay for, so now I have to do something like the dudes on a boat. Hey, I'm not going to tell you it's time to sail, learn how to sail the high seas again, but it's almost that time. It's almost that time if you're going to do it. And there's nothing wrong with taking your Fire Stick and, learning how to, not really jailbreak it because you don't have to jailbreak it, but, getting one of those, I think it's the SPK softwares, and getting all kinds of cool shit loaded up on a Fire Stick. I remember the heady days of Yuri Gagarin and Sputnik. Like 2017, 2018, having a Fire Stick loaded up, watching like F1 out of Estonia, because that was what was available, or everything like that. Isn't it SDK? I don't remember. Dirty News says, you're going to cover the Warner Brother Netflix deal. Yes, a little bit on Thursday. Oh. But yes, we're almost getting to the point of resailing the seas again. Sellers saying, save some of these secrets from Model Bench stream night. Yes, chat, we are going to do that. We got some stuff we're going to work on. Some of it's going to be mainly just because I'm kind of on a kick for it right now, but doing some terrain-based stuff. And that's mainly because that's what I made. So kind of already worked on this, but like, for the bolt action stuff, like, look, chat, I made terrain. It's not the best, but it's getting there. Work on that a little bit. Learned how to make a brick wall. Did that. It's kind of fun. Elmer's glue only. So, yeah. So we'll work on that a little bit. Too much work to keep the jailbroke Fire Stick setup going. Yeah. Well, that some point happens here. Sean says everything for Thursday so he can run out of time. Well, no, but I don't actually have a lot for Thursday so far, so I need it. I need it. A Chugi Show. We'll end on this here. It says, how much does Becky donate to the local zoo? I don't think there's Illuminati down there. I think there's Illuminati. He likes the word terrain because it's almost like saying train. Yes. And KLF is saying, this is like the most Long Island thing ever, somebody might say. Worried about the pro wrestling with the WWE and the AEW merger. Funny. Yes, 500, 400, 300. Am I taking it off on locals? No, we're going to go over to the model channel here. They're not merging, so you say so. I mean, you don't know that. You don't know that. Kale's out there. It's still real to me. Damn it. It's still real to me. All right, chat. We're going to set this up here. I got to set the... Okay. Let's see here. Schedule for later. 10. Upload thumbnail. There we go. All right. Create live stream. We're going to stream it live, chat. Okay, let's move this over. Switch over the things here. And guys, I'm not sure what we're going to cover tomorrow, but yeah, I thought this was a nice little bit of a kind of a change after we went through that, couple hour slog into the Supreme Court. A little more of a pop culture, true crime end here. But like I said, this is the end of the Alex Murdaugh saga. I know you guys may not like to hear that, but it is the end. I'd be happy to see that he gets another trial. I just don't think it's going to happen. And ultimately, I'm not sure that, given what was presented, a jury would find otherwise. Although it would be great to see Dick Harpoolian and all them coming back, the good old Pooner, to retry it and show us what happens here. Could the prostitute that Matthew Harden brought in today be sued by Greer for what was filed today? No. You have generally privilege in court documents because we expect people and want people to tell truth. Stacey says, I can sleep in tomorrow. Oh, awesome. Awesome. Yes, no mergings are sounding. Ravensy says, if I find a site that streams other stuff others charge for, would I be in trouble? I mean, you not necessarily, but always be careful when you sail the 7 seas. Always be careful. Always be careful sailing the 7 seas. Sean's live in 12 hours? No, damn it. I'll fix it. Thank you, EDW, for $5. There, we'll be live in 1 minute. All right. Can I file court documents to defame people? Be very careful about that. It's not a complete privilege, but generally it's a pretty effective privilege. So, No Mayo says something got filed today. Oh my God, all kinds of shit got filed today in the Russell Greer case. Go check it out. So anyways, chat. I will leave you guys here until next time. So just remember, thank you all for being here as well. Just because you did it does not mean you're guilty. Unless you're Becky Hill and you fucked with justice. You are very guilty. Good night, chat. And take care, everybody.
Weapons, blacksmithing, and models of planes, esoteric works, and even some trains. Much merriment had while drinking White Claws, tips on hunting, and even talking the law. Whatever you do, just don't talk to cops, even when they nab you on illegal stops. Just 'cause you did it doesn't mean you're guilty. But please talk to a local attorney. Was that the fat guy